here's a new geography quiz game. How much do you know about this fascinating world? We're going to ask you some questions. You'll have 5 seconds to answer each one. All right, here we go. Quizzing our way around the world. See if you can beat the clock. Volcano erupting. Nature spits fire to remind us that it was not so long ago that the Earth itself was a molten mass. Now, for your first question in our Where on Earth game, where on Earth is Vesuvius, Europe's famous active volcano? Mount Vesuvius is in Italy, near the Bay of Naples, where the villagers stubbornly cling to the hillsides under the flame-breathing shadow of the fire god himself. Now watch this carefully. You'll see something that tells you this expedition is bound for the South Pole and not for the North Pole. Now, what have you seen that tells you this expedition is at the South Pole and not the North Pole? The answer is penguins. Penguins appear only at the South Pole, and they and their friends, the seals, welcome explorers to this very end of the Earth. We take you now to India, with a teeming population of 350 million human beings, second most populous nation on Earth. Here is the ancient river, which is the life stream of the nation's agricultural economy. As the devout Hindu and his son practice their sacred purification ritual here in the warm stream, they little realize that over centuries, these muddy waters have carried to the sea untold billions of tons of India's finest topsoil, leaving the uplands, where once agriculture flourished, an eroded waste. Can you answer this question? What is the name of this stream, the Holy River of India? That river is the Ganges, on the banks of which flourishes one of the oldest civilizations in the world. India, long a backward colonial land, now again beseeches its ancient gods for a high place among the forward-looking nations of the world. At the top of India lie the Himalaya Mountains, the jagged roof of the world. And as long as these peaks push their snowy summits into the blue, there will be men who wish to climb them. Once they asked a famous mountain climber why he wished to scale Mount Everest. Said the mountain climber, "Because it's there." And this perfectly expresses the philosophy of the men who rope themselves together and make their way slowly and tortuously past tumbled rocks, over tricky glaciers. Answer this mountain question. What is the highest mountain on the continent of North America? That mountain is Mount Mackinley, scaled 5 times in human history, but ever dangerous. One false step on the icy slope and look out! They're pulled off the ridge one after the other, but luck is with them, and they slide to the bottom, safe, but having learned never to get careless with a mountain. We turn to man-made wonders. Here is the amazing architectural achievement called the Eiffel Tower, 985 feet above the streets of Paris, needing just a little cleaning and painting now and then to keep it one of the man-made wonders of the world. And now, before you get dizzy, here's your question. What 2 buildings are there in the world taller than the Eiffel Tower? Answer, the Empire State and the Chrysler Buildings top it, but from above or below, the Tower of Eiffel is certainly an eyeful. And now we turn from the wonders of the civilized world to a wonder of the uncivilized world. Here are the Bushmen of a strange continent. These natives are thought to be at the lowest state of civilization of any tribesman ever found. Yet these primitive savages learned to cut and shape and temper one of the trickiest instruments known to man. It's called the boomerang, a weapon shaped by hand according to aerodynamic principles of flight discovered by modern engineers only in the last few decades, yet apparently known by intuition to these children of the jungle. Thrown through the air and given the proper spin, the boomerang whirls, circles, and actually returns directly to the man who threw it. Now that you see this gadget in action, perhaps you can answer this question. On what continent is the boomerang found? Give yourself a star on your report card if you knew that the boomerang is found in Australia. Clever, these Australians. The only trouble is, when you get yourself a new boomerang, it's such a problem trying to throw away the old one. Of all the achievements of man, perhaps his proudest is the harnessing of the forces of great rivers. Through these turbines, a surging torrent is transformed into electricity. An arm flicks a switch. The river pours through the spillways of the generator house to furnish a thrilling waterworks spectacle. These pictures are of Hoover Dam, one of the biggest dams in the world. What river does Hoover Dam harness? Hoover Dam harnesses the mighty Colorado behind one of the largest man-made structures on the face of the earth. Every nation, every tribe has its distinctive dances. These spirited dancers are from the jungles of Central Africa, performing to ensure themselves success in the hunt. Here's a curious set of convolutions. This Oriental fellow is dancing in a public square in Tokyo, Japan. And here's a dance designed to ensure good harvest. Now see if you can answer. Where is this dance being held? You should have answered, in the United States. In Arizona, the Hopi Indians dance, their prayer for a bountiful harvest. We've seen the rivers and mountains, the towers and the dams. Now let's look at a city. Watch closely and see if you can tell where on earth lies this beautiful metropolis. Sunny skies tell you this is the southern hemisphere. In only one great seaport of the world will you find these unusual mosaic sidewalks. Here's another hint. The cable car that carries you to the top of the famous Sugarloaf Mountain above one of the great harbors of the world. All this should tell you where on earth we are. What city is this? The city is Rio de Janeiro, capital of Brazil. A fine place to see as you go with the camera any place, anytime, anywhere.